In his usual fashion, Justin Trudeau preaching unity while dividing Canadians. This time it's all the other provinces against Alberta. Ladies and gents, welcome back. Happy Friday. Hope to see you live tonight at 6:30 Pacific or 9:30 Eastern. We'll be talking about this story as well as many others in more depth in a live format. We'll see you then. But let's get into this for now. Justin Trudeau is organized all the provinces and all the premiers to come together to help him negotiate with Donald Trump and the 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods that he's promised if Canada doesn't capitulate with his demands on the border. So rather than capitulating with the demands about securing our border, which is what Canadians actually want, he's going to the provinces to push for further, let's say, leverage against Donald Trump. And, well, he wants to use Alberta's oil and gas in that right now. Alberta sees otherwise. We'll get into that. But first, let's look at the situation here. Here's Justin Trudeau saying, the premiers and I might be from different parties and different parts of the country, but we're Canadians. Canada first. Canadians first. This is Trudeau. What?
Protect your jurisdiction, but country comes first. Canada's a priority. And I don't believe in jeopardizing one sector or another. Premier Smith's oil is Ontario's auto sector.
Oh, is it?
But at the end of the day, when the tariffs come, it's going to affect Albertans. It's going to affect people from BC and Saskatchewan and Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, all the way down the road.
No. Will it? That's the question is, will it? So obviously we saw Danielle Smith go all the way down to Mar-a-Lago to make, I don't know what the discussion was with Donald Trump at the time, but it seems like, and also Francois Legault, he was even speaking publicly about, hey, America, perhaps don't do this. Let's make a deal, as the federal government has been dropping the ball on this one, not making good negotiations, or even, again, the capitulation of just, hey, why don't we fix our border? There won't be any tariffs at all. Instead, we have to pressure Alberta to be a pawn in this negotiation tactic. Perhaps they don't want to be. Perhaps they're not interested in that. Now, Justin Trudeau pointing this out, saying that, Canadians just need to be together. We need togetherness in this whole thing. Gov.exe is corrupt, posting this video of that same meeting. Justin Trudeau says his government is prepared to respond with counter tariffs. Really? Are we prepared to respond with that?
United on one thing, which is we will stand up for Canada. We will protect Canadians. We will make sure that we are there to show what this country is made of. At the same time, we've also agreed that no one region of the country should disproportionately bear the burden of standing up for all other Canadians.
That's Justin Trudeau speak for one particular province should bear the front for all the other provinces. That's what he's saying there. Now, Pierre Poilievre, in an announcement talking about his campaign, obviously they're in full swing. There's an election coming, so we're campaigning. And in this, he was asked about this, and he gave what Brian Lilley on X is saying is a masterclass on oil and gas in Canada, and what a good response actually would be. Here he is here.
You could be a prime minister within a few months in this country. Would you be willing to impose export tax or restrictions on Canadian oil, because you'll be dealing with Trump's threats of tariffs? This would put pressure on the Trump administration. Or is this off the table for you as it is for Danielle Smith in Alberta?
Well, first of all, I think that the first thing that President Trump should do when he gets into the Oval Office is to send a big bouquet of flowers to the Liberal government in Ottawa. By blocking pipelines and LNG plants in Canada, the Liberals have forced Canadians to sell almost all of our energy to the United States, giving President Trump massive leverage in making these tariff threats. Had they allowed the Energy East and Northern Gateway pipelines to go ahead, had they rapidly approved LNG plants to sell the natural gas that Japan, Greece, Germany, and other countries were looking for us to sell them directly, we wouldn't have to give 100%, almost 100%, of our hydrocarbons to the Americans at discount prices, and you wouldn't have had to ask me that question.
So just to give a little bit more context to this is absolutely true what he's saying. It's been a situation here in Canada where here's Alberta Separation putting this on X, saying this is the serious issue here. What's been shut down here is that Energy East pipeline that would have been the supply for Ontario and then all the way out so that we could supply energy to Europe. We also had the Trans Mountain Pipeline and the Trans Mountain Northern Gateway. These projects rejected. These would have been ways to get our oil and gas, our energy to a global market, which at the end of the day, the way this works is if we're able to sell it to other countries, then the US would be paying us normal rates for this type of energy. They're paying us a massive discount because we can't sell it to anybody else. Who's at fault here? Well, it's the Liberal government that did this. The Liberal government canceled these projects and made it impossible for Canadian energy companies to sell our products to other countries. So we're forced to sell our products to the US, and because of that, the U.S. is like, no, we're going to buy it for way less money than you're offering. And that's the reality of that situation. But let's get back to what he has to say here, because he has a lot more to say. I like the analogy, or I like the what he said at the beginning. He should be sending a bouquet of flowers to the Trudeau administration, because that's exactly what he did. He handed them money at a giant discount, energy at a giant discount, over what we could have potentially been doing, which would have benefited us all, absolutely.
Because I would have answered, in that scenario, we'll go around the Americans. We'll sell our energy directly. But that's something that the Liberals would not let us do. Freeland supported killing the Energy East pipeline, which would have moved 1 million barrels of Western oil to the St. John refinery and off to Europe, by the way, which would have helped defund Putin. Carney testified in the industry committee that he was against the Northern Gateway pipeline to take Canadian oil to Asia without going through the United States. By the way, while his company buys pipelines in the Middle East and in Brazil. How unpatriotic is that? So, frankly, the Liberals have got us in this mess by making us beholden to the Americans and giving the Americans our energy at massive price discounts, selling our oil for $15 typically below the market rate, and selling them natural gas for $4 per million metric British thermal units when they're going for $13 in Europe. That is economic sadomasochism, and I will put an end to it. When I'm Prime Minister, we will repeal the anti-energy law C-69. We will rapidly approve LNG plants and any other private sector unsubsidized investments to expand our ability to sell our energy without going through the Americans, and I will unite our people. We see right now that not only have the Liberals weakened our economy, now they're resorting to dividing our people. Divide and conquer. Right when the president is threatening us with tariffs, what is the first thing the Liberal Party of Freeland and Carney think to do? Divide Canadians. Divide our provinces. We don't need to be divided. We need to be united. All provinces, all Canadians. Let's put Canada first.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's put Canada first. But they're saying Canada first while doing all of this. Now, there's Doug Ford with his new hat. Great. Great one. Canada's not for sale. Great. I mean, this guy's been for sale for ages. One of the biggest sellouts in our country. Anyway, country comes first, says Trudeau, and the premiers unite against potential U.S. tariffs while Smith withholds full support. Well, come on. Really, what is the incentive? Of course, they're saying, here's City News Vancouver. Alberta is refusing to sign on to a joint statement from all other premiers and the Prime Minister to plan to respond to U.S. President Donald Trump his potential tariffs on Canadian goods. Well, you know what? Just fix the border, and this won't even be an issue. At the end of the day, that's where we're at. Now, Smith did make an announcement. It says Real Team Canada approach. Here we go. How about this for building a Team Canada approach? One, stop threatening the livelihoods of tens of thousands of Albertans and Canadians via energy export tax or ban. Because they're actually saying that they're going to put an extra tax on Canadian oil if they don't capitulate with Trudeau's demands. This is crazy. This is nuts. It's nonsensical. 2, immediately start construction on the Northern Gateway and Energy East pipelines to diversify our customer base to Europe and Asia and our own country. Let's supply it to our own country without having to go through the United States first. Tell Germany, 3rd, Japan and the rest of the world that there is in fact a business case for Canadian oil and gas to be sold to them. There absolutely is. 4, repeal the unconstitutional and job-killing production cap, electricity regulations, and C-69. You might have to bring back Parliament to do that, but we're prorogued so that Justin Trudeau can stay in power while the Liberals look for a new leader. That's right. 5, treat with respect and as an equal partner the Alberta taxpayers that have been transferring hundreds of billions to Quebec and the Maritimes and even Ontario for decades. Let's start there on building our Team Canada approach, shall we? This is the real situation, as John Paul Berg pointing out with the amount of transfer payments that have been going to those provinces. Now, I'm in British Columbia. We don't get any transfer payments. We're not giving a whole lot, but we're not getting a whole lot as well. Alberta's the lion's share of where that's coming. He says the reason Danielle Smith went to Mar-a-Lago to add insult to injury, the radical neo-Malthusian Liberal Party are doing everything to prevent Alberta from getting their products to market. I fear Canada will not be around much longer as we've known it. Hypothetically, what would Canada do without its cash cow Alberta? What if this were to be put on the table? Alberta Separation. This, if anything was the case, this would be the case for Alberta to, become its own country or perhaps annex into the United States. This is stuff that you don't want to see. If you want to see Canada staying together, you probably wouldn't want all of the provinces poking the bear, in this case, the bear being Alberta, a province that not only supplies Canada with so much funding, especially Eastern Canada, with so much funding, but would actually be able to fund them even more if they weren't hogtied on the energy market. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below, as well as tonight in the live stream. So tune in for that at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. We'll be talking about this and many other subjects. I look forward to having you in the chat. We'll see you then. Keep on trucking.